this show. It is one day after the budget presentation, a 4-hour presentation by Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. Kenny Anthony, the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2013-2014. And it's a budget that has been characterized by deep cuts because we want to fall in line with fiscal responsibility and also the dictates of agencies like the IMF. One area where cuts have been realized is in subsidies, rice flour, bulk rice flour and sugar. And of course, I'm sure that there are many things that would be said later on about the budget. But tonight we have with us representatives of the CSA, the Civil Service Association, representing a great number of public sector workers. We have the President, Ms. Mary Isaac, and also the First Vice President, Wilfred Pierre. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Newsmaker Live.
Good evening. Nice having us.
I suspect you were quite comfortable last time, so it was easy for you to accept the invitation to be back.
Sure.
That's always a good thing, and probably when you become a regular guest, we can ask some tougher questions and put you on the spot a bit. But no, that's not how we do things. Let's start with the budget. Before we go into CSA issues, let's start with the budget. And I'm sure that you even though you did not hear the entire presentation, you would have picked up bits and pieces from the presentation by Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. What impressed you most? What struck you? What are your overall impressions of the budget?
Clearly, I really believe that the Prime Minister really had a difficult task. When you look at trying to cap debt and juxtapose that towards increasing taxes, I mean, I can see how difficult that really is. But there are a lot of nice things that I like in the budget, and one of them was the agricultural sector, the focus on the agricultural sector. Looking at the transformation of the coconut industry, I think that is a very good initiative to really look at value added within the coconut industry. Also, when you look at, one of the areas that I really thought would have given a lot of attention by the Prime Minister is to really energize persons, to really look at for persons to work together, both trade unions, the employer, the employees, private sector. And I didn't get that. I think it was something that I felt that there was an opportunity for him to really begin to get people to work together, similar to what when they had the church service for our independence, when Father Michel spoke about that, and I know most of the parliamentarians were there, and he was talking about healing and working together, because this thing cannot be done just by the government alone. And that is why our members did what they what they indicated in terms of the 000, to really create that opportunity for the government to go to the other trade unions and say, well, look, we are having difficulty. There's difficulty worldwide. Let us see if we can partner together so that we can rebound the economy back again. There are areas that I really thought that could have had significant emphasis, because I know the challenges in terms of getting resources, and that is resource mobilization. I really wanted to see an effort being placed on resource mobilization. And incidentally, the Prime Minister in his future budget, and also it's in the contract of faith, was it the contract of faith, the name of the manifesto? No, I think it's a different name. But in the manifesto, he spoke about a planning institute, similar to what
Blueprint for Growth.
Blueprint for Growth,
yes.
Yeah. There was the issue of a planning institute, similar to what the Jamaica Planning Institute. And I think that is something that we really have to look at the institutional framework for resource mobilization. I think that's an area that has significant resources, but the institutional framework is really not there. He spoke about the BAM, the Banana Accompanying Measure. That is one area of funding from the EU, but there are significant amount of funding, especially for climate change adaptation, and we have not tapped into it. One similar resource, for example, the Adaptation Fund. There have been 4 calls last year and 2 calls for proposal this year, and we have not submitted any initiative towards to get some funding from that initiative.
And
but Jamaica
is that?
did.
But why is that?
I guess probably this is a way we are structured. To me, we have to be very proactive. I mean, we are facing some significant challenges. We really have to have everybody on board, look at the system of resource mobilization, and we really need to fine-tune it. And as I indicated, Jamaica, in fact, the Planning Institute last year did submit a proposal, and they received $10 million to look at climate change adaptation for the agricultural sector and to really look at a number of initiatives. So I'm saying we really need to, and I didn't get that in the budget itself. But I think that's one of the areas that I think the government should really focus on, looking at resource mobilization, innovative ways of bringing resources. Looking locally, there are a number of resources that are available in St. Lucia. The trade union movement alone has close to more than half of the budget in terms of deposits and savings. Could we not tap into this resource so that we can look at to jumpstart the economy, even through the construction sector? So there are a lot of nice things in the budget, and as I said, the focus on the agricultural sector to really transform the agricultural sector using the youth entrepreneurship program. I think that's an excellent program, because when you do a review of the number of the farmers and the age, you see significantly we have a lot of old farmers, you know, and that is why we need to get young, innovative persons, right, to really begin to look at jumpstarting the economy. And I think the youth entrepreneurship program is an excellent program.
Now, in terms of, you know, impact on your membership, what did you see in the budget, you know, as far as your members and benefiting from the proposals that were made? Well, pretty much accepted is just to vote on whether the Prime Minister is authorized to spend the amount that he has requested.
Well, I saw some good things too in the budget. Of course, I did not see the entire proposal. I did not see the entire presentation. But the little that I saw of it, because I got home just towards the end and I haven't gone through it as yet, through any copy or anything. I know there are still 2 more days to go through, Thursday and Friday, I believe. And then, you know, I would take a look at the budget.
That would be the debates, yeah.
Right. I would then take a look at the budget in its entirety. But what I heard about was when the Prime Minister spoke about the special needs, the $200 for persons, families with children who have special needs. Although it's very small, and you know, some people may even think it is insignificant given the hardships that parents with children who have special needs are faced with, and the type of expenses that you go through, because I know I have a special needs daughter. I think that it is commendable that they have at least looked at it, and they have assigned something, some monetary, you know, contribution towards these people. I think it is $200 for now, I'm hoping. But it is commendable that they have done that. They have given recognition to the fact that these people need additional support, as opposed to people who, you know, do not have children with special needs. So I think this is really, really a great effort by government. Well, I'm hoping in future it may be more. People like me may not benefit from that sort of thing, because I wouldn't necessarily want to you know, to go for the $200. It would be more beneficial if a person like myself, say for instance, people in a certain income bracket, could be given a tax break.
Yeah, tax break.
You understand? Because in some countries that is what they do. You will claim a certain amount for each child that you have, but if you have a special needs child, you are allowed to claim a bit more. So that would benefit a person like me more than the $200. Something like that, I wouldn't even bother. But I know that there are a lot of people that is going to help tremendously, because you do spend a lot more for children with special needs, as opposed to, you know,
now the cut on the basic subsistence foods, you know, flour, rice, sugar, that might have come as a shock to many people, that the government will cut its subsidies by 50%. What is your take on that?
Well, that didn't come as a shock to me, because as you know, I work in the Ministry of Commerce.
Right.
So I am very conscious of the fact that these commodities have been subsidized for a long time. And there was the need to at least increase them to the level where government is breaking even. Because you cannot be bringing in goods for sale to the public, to everyone, to the retailers, wholesalers, and so on, business houses, at a loss, you don't even recover the cost of those goods. You're selling those goods below cost. So, I mean, that is not beneficial to anyone, because at the end of the day, it is our tax dollars that goes into paying for these goods. And when they are sold, you do not recover the cost of those goods. So that was a necessity, I believe. But it could have been, it was supposed to have been done a long time ago. But it was not done, of course, most of the time for political reasons. Usually when they come in and they look at, you know, increasing the price of those goods, the political electorate always felt it was too early during the first years. And then by the time they want to increase it after 2 years or so, again another election is looming on the horizon. So it was never the right time, you understand. But now I believe that this government has decided to bite the bullet, take their blows if they have to, and do what is necessary to see that, you know, they recover something, at least the monies that they are putting into purchasing those items. You understand?
But in terms of the timing, because you look at VAT, which came into effect in October, you know, the increase in water rates. You look at the subsidies now being cut as of June 1st. You look at bus fares, an imminent rise in bus fares, and the rate at which people have received increments do not correspond with all those increases. And I mean, your members, obviously, among others, in St. Lucia would be affected by those increases, the shift in the spending power that they will have. I mean, how much does that concern the CSA leadership, and what kind of measures can you take to mitigate against, you know, whatever effects, negative effects that these would have?
Well, you see, this is why people who are in the know, like myself, was insisting that we had to look at an increase that is going to give the people some sort of soulagement in terms of what I know was looming on the horizon. Okay. Also, we had members who are in the Treasury who were indicating that their you know, government could have given a little more than the 4%, right? But, and you know, when people kept talking about the 4%, you know, it's better than nothing. Now we are going to see whether the 4% is better than nothing. I believe that the government had a good opportunity to listen to the workers who said, since you are still saying a 4% would cause you to borrow, right? Increase the deficit, okay? We are going to take 0.00 for now. We will accept the benefits that you are giving to us because the benefits were, you know, reasonable benefits. But we do not, as our government, we do not want you to incur more debt, because the government is saying that they still have to borrow to pay the 4%. So the workers said they recognized that that was no longer on the table. But recognizing that, they said, in the interest of the state, we are now proposing that we take a 0, right? So you don't have to borrow, give us the benefits. But everybody else would have to make a sacrifice. And this is where your flour, sugar, and rice increases are coming in, the VAT and everything else, the gas prices, all the increases. Because then government could have gone and said, the other unions, what say you? Okay? This union has said, we're willing to make the sacrifice. The other unions were very cooperative in terms of running and jumping and taking the 4%, right? Maybe they would be willing to reconsider if government asked them to reconsider.
Now, I want us to talk a lot more about that, but let's take our first break on Newsmaker Live. When we come back, we'll discuss specific CSA issues, and in particular, the issue of 4% and workers needing to write to their permanent secretaries to let them know that they do not want the government's 4%. Stay with us.